Hey everyone, Dr. Frunke here with a new knife consult for you. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Benchmade knives Phaeton. So what you can see here, they've got the designation 4600-1 on here, the Phaeton. This isn't a black box designating a black class knife, meaning that this is intended as more of a tactical rather than necessarily a plain EDC style knife. So we're going to approach it with that in mind, and let's just go ahead and take a look at this thing. Clearly, this is a very unique knife coming out of Benchmade. This is an out-the-front knife. Benchmade has a series of well-known and well-respected out-the-front knives, and this one is sort of the mid-range model right here. I think this one is going to compete with knives, say, like the Microtech, Ultratech. That's about the same size category going on here. So why don't we go ahead and see what we are looking at right here. I'll bring out the ruler for a measurement. We've got about 3.5 inches of overall blade length, just a hair short of that in terms of the sharpened edge right there. Back to the handle, you're looking at about 3.6 inches right there. So a nice size blade going on, and it is about 4 3/4 inches in overall length in terms of the handle right there and the grip area, and it's about 1 inch tall in its height. I'll go ahead and bring out my trusty calipers right here. Sorry, they're buried under some stuff. Look at the handle width. Let's look at this. Looking at 0.46 inches in terms of the handle width, and the blade stock is 0.10. So a nice thin blade stock that might actually be pretty useful if it weren't for one thing, and we'll get to that kind of at the end. But speaking of the blade, let's break this down anatomically. Up front is that 3.4 inch blade. This is done in S30V, which is sort of now going to start becoming their baseline steel, which is very nice. S30V is an excellent steel. Great corrosion resistance, great edge retention, easy sharpenability. It's an excellent steel. It is a powdered metallurgy process steel. Cannot complain about it at all. The blade shape is quite functional. It's a nice sort of drop point grind right there. Comes to a nice thin edge, and it did come very sharp. In typical Benchmade fashion, the sharpened bevels are a bit uneven across both sides here, so that's just classic Benchmade. I really wish that they would get on their quality control a little bit there. It's starting to become a little bit frustrating that time after time the same issues come up again and again. It did come sharp though. That's the thing. The bevels may look uneven, but they always come sharp. So it doesn't. It sort of depends on what kind of person you are. Are you OCD like I am and want to see it beautifully perfect, or do you just want a sharp knife? So that's up to you. So moving back to the deployment here, obviously it is an out the front knife. It is actually a very, very smooth out the front action, considerably easier. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this out for a comparison than the Microtech Combat Troodon that I've got right here. So the Combat Troodon is clearly the next size up in terms of size class for an out the front. Again, look at the Ultratech for a size comparison here. I don't have one of those on me right now, so I can't do that comparison. But the action on the Ultratech that I did do a while back was a little bit stiffer. This spring is just a lot stiffer on this knife, and so it's a little bit harder to actuate, and it took some time to break in. This is a very relatively soft action, and it's very easy to do that all day. I'm sorry if that's messing up my sound. It's got a very positive lockup. It comes out very quickly, and it locks up affirmatively. But the one thing that I will say, the one thing that I actually really like about this Combat Troodon is that the blade play, you can hear it, but the blade is not really moving in any major way. I can't really feel the blade moving up and down or side to side. However, on this knife, unlike that one, there's a significant amount of up and down. There's some side to side play. There's a considerable amount of movement. Now, people will always say that's to be expected on an out the front knife, but really and truly, this much blade play really decreases my confidence in my ability to do safe cutting, or at least consistent cutting, because if this can move back and forth and side to side, so I can move it all the way back and it still moves side to side, it doesn't give me confidence that I'm going to be able to perform consistent and straight cutting tasks. Now, it's not going to go back in. It does, all out the fronts have a little bit of forward and back play, except for maybe the Grant and Gavin Hawk model. But this one doesn't, that's not really an important thing. It doesn't push into the knife at all while you're using it, so that's one thing. It will work well as a stabbing tool, but in terms of a slicing tool, it just doesn't really give me the confidence that a normal knife might. So moving back to the handles, we've got these nicely done aluminum handles. These are bronze anodized, and they're really nice. It's very comfortable in the hand. Out the front knives seem to assume this sort of boxy shape because of the mechanisms that are on the inside. And it's comfortable in the hand. It's not the grippiest thing I've ever seen. They put this jimping sort of knurled pattern on the sides here, but to be perfectly honest, it's everywhere that you don't need it to be. You know, there's really no other grip going on. My fingers don't even fall on that knurling pattern for any kind of a grip, so they actually fall on all this smooth stuff. There's a little bit of jimping right here for your finger, and you obviously have the thumb ramp right here built into the button, but not really the grippiest knife right here. So it's interesting to me that this knife comes to us as sort of a black class knife intended for tactical use, but it's not really going to be ideal for that at all. So I'm going to go ahead and bring out some other knives just while I have some time for a size comparison. You'll see it's a very overall similar length profile to the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Here I've got the ZT Knives 0392. I've got a Spyderco Mannix going on right here. How about a couple of interesting knives? How about a CKF Gavco Spinner collab? How about my Jason Guthrie Scout? 3.25 inch blade on that one right there. Here is a Spyderco Sliver Axe. Here is the Combat Troodon again, so you can see how much bigger this knife is. Let's see, what else do we have here? I've got a Shirogorov F3. That can be the last one right there. So it's a nice size. Definitely a nice size. If you're looking for an out the front, it's definitely going to be on your radar. But I can't say that this knife is any more special than any knife, like a folding knife at this size. I don't know if I can really recommend this knife given all that blade play. Now, Nick Shabazz, I think, liked this knife a whole lot. It does have a nice blade shape, and it is quite sharp. But that whole blade play thing just irks me big time, especially on this knife. That's the most dramatic movement that I've seen on an out the front knife. Now, you can yell at me down in the comments down below and tell me that I'm a fool. I don't know what I'm talking about, but you know, this is the problem that I have with some out the fronts, and it just is what it is. I didn't talk about the clip. This is my favorite Benchmade clip, save for the bug out clip that's a little bit smaller. I do love their deep carry clip, and I really, really strongly dislike the arrow clip. Yeah, I'm just glad I don't see that on here. So it will carry nice and deep, and it is easy to get in and out of the pocket. It's very lightweight. I'll go ahead and bring the scale out here so we can get an exact weight. Looking at 3.04 ounces, so a nice lightweight carry right here. So I'm going to leave this up to you. If you really love out the fronts, it feels great. It's built well, except for that blade play. So you should consider this, but honestly, I'm not going to recommend this knife based on my limited experience right here. Talk to me about it down in the comments. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Tell me if you've had an experience with this knife. Go over to Nick Shabazz's channel. This is the knife that he actually sent to me just for my buddy Nico. It's on its way to him, so check out his videos. He also did a thorough review and takedown of this knife, so he's got a little bit more info to offer. But thanks for watching my channel, guys. Click like and subscribe here. Go over to Instagram and follow me at Dr. Frunky. Go ahead and check out my buddy Nico at todaysgrail_tomorrowsbeater on Instagram. And of course, Nick Shabazz, thank you for sending this one along. As always, guys, this is Dr. Frunky saying, take care.